Alright. So, all I gotta say is, here we go. Hello everyone, I think my name is Kirakaya. I don't know, the dementia's starting to set in. And today we are starting off a fantastical, whimsical journey. This is the start of a huge project that I'm working on that it's been going on for actually like a month or two. I don't know when this video is coming out or when these videos are coming out. But I am making another Iron Man suit. Now if you've been following me for a while, you know that I made a Mark 42 over the past year and I made like 2 videos out of it. At the time, I didn't know what I was doing, so I didn't end up making a video series for it like I wanted to because, well, I was still learning. I didn't know what I was doing. But now I think I have an idea of what I'm doing. I like to think so. And I want to make another Iron Man suit and make it better in every conceivable way than the Mark 42 because I'm a perfectionist. I like to improve and learn from my mistakes. So here I am bringing to you the beginning of the Mark 40, aka Shotgun from Iron Man 3. It's my favorite Iron Legion suit out of the entire thing. It only gets like a minute of screen time, but gosh dang is it pretty. So in this video series, I'm going to be showing you from start to finish how to start off your very own Iron Man or whatever cosplay build that you're making out of 3D printing. Whether that's a medieval armor from a game like Skyrim or any Elder Scrolls game for that matter, like anything really. This series should help you make your very own suit. And what better way to start off this series than starting at the very beginning of any build, making sure that whatever you make will fit. I'm going to be showing you what I did to scale the Mark 40 to fit me and the Mark 42, some mistakes that I've learned from, as well as like just like intricacies and like other stuff that I wish that I was told when I was doing this. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to scale your very own armor or armor pieces. We're going to be starting off with a paid program called ArmorSmith, which costs about 30 bucks, and it will really help out the process of scaling the entire armor to fit your body. So before we get into the meat of things, I just want to give a special thanks for Polymaker and Dio3D for collaborating with me to make this build and the series possible. Dio3D provided me the armor files for the Mark 40, and Polymaker provided all the filament necessary for the build. So thank you guys for sponsoring such a wacky and quirky individual such as myself for some reason. And the ultimate goal of this series is to get all of this done before New York Comic Con, which is where I plan to debut this in October. I'm going to be debuting it with a bunch of other great creators in the Iron Man space such as Frank, Plentiful Props 3D, and a whole bunch of other people that should be going, I think. I don't know. It's going to be a fun time. I'm very excited to get this all done for you and just like show off everything that's going on and hopefully teach you guys and inspire you to make your own build. So with all that fun, goofy stuff said, let's move into the actual meat of it, starting with ArmorSmith. So basically, as you can see, I have my avatar fully already made, ready to go. I have everything thrown on here. Now, in order to get an avatar like this for yourself that's fully made to your measurements, you're gonna have to take some measurements and go through this process, which I'm gonna be showing you how to do that right now. So here we're ready to create our very own new avatar. So this is gonna ask you for an absolute buttload of measurements, so as we go through them, I'm going to have a clip shown on the screen to show you how it's done, so that way you can try and get it as accurate as possible. So first things first, it's going to ask you for your height, which you should honestly know from going for doctors or whatever, but basically your head to your foot. I don't know how else to explain that. Now, I am 5'7", but if you encounter me on any dating apps, I am 6 foot, by the way. So we're going to have to put all these measurements in either inches or centimeters, so no feetsies, no metersies, nothing crazy like that. Since I am an oil-blooded, grease-sweating, monster truck loving American, I'm going to be using the beautiful imperial system of inches. Because what the frick is Uncle Robert? Yeah, we're going to be using inches. If you're one of those heathens on like any other part of the globe, use centimeters, whatever. So we're just going to go ahead and put 67 inches. Be done with that. I am biologically male. And now for your chest measurement, you want to wrap it around your chest and then meet right in the middle. So I am a 33-inch chest because of my twinkiness. And now for your neck, you want to take your tape measure and wrap it around your neck and then meet in the middle, and that'll be your neck measurement. So I know for mine, I'm a 14-inch neck. So let's put that in. And now for your shoulder width, you want to take it from one edge of your shoulder to the other. And that's basically all you need to do. Pinch it at the place, and then that's your measurement. I'm about a 16-inch shoulder, so we're just going to put that in. And for your arm length, you want to take it from the top of your shoulder to the base of your wrist, and that's your arm measurement. For mine, I am a 21-inch arm because I have the arms of Slender Man, so let's put that. For the biceps, do a slight flex on your arms, so that way you have room in the armor. So for my bicep measurement, I'm about 9.5. Now your forearm circumference is basically just the middle of your forearm here, just wrap that around. So because I'm skinny, I have about a 7-inch forearm. And now this is a little bit of an awkward measurement, so lock your doors, where you want to take your tape measure and then measure it from the base of your neck to an inch below your butt. So mine is about an estimate of 31 inches. So let's put that in there. And now for your waist circumference, we're just wrap it around your stomach, right where your belly button is. So my waist is about a 29-inch waist. And now for your hip circumference, which goes around the juiciest part of your buttocks to just above your crotch. So my hips are about a 32. And now we're going to get our inside length, aka our inseam, which goes from basically the top of your thigh / the base of your crotch to the floor. So the easiest way I found to do this is start by at the base of your crotch to letting it fall on the floor and then stepping on the tape measure and tightening it, so that way your foot is keeping it in place and it stays nice and tight and as accurate as you can get. So I have about a 31-inch inseam, so let's plug that in. And now the thigh circumference, exactly what it means. Wrap it around the juiciest, thickest part of your thigh. So I got a slight case of the chicken leg, so we're going to go with about 18 inches of thigh. And now for your calf circumference, which goes around the thickest, juiciest part of your lower leg, the calf, which mine is about a solid 12 inches. Now for your head width to determine if you have a big brain or not. So there's a few ways to do this, and the program gives you a pretty good way to do it by either slamming your head in a door or shoving 2 books on your head. So using the door jam method, I determined I have about 6 inches of head width. So let's plug that in. And I forgot that I asked for head circumference. You want to wrap the tape measure around your head above your ears at the widest part of your noggin, so that way you get that. And mine is a solid 22 inches. And now foot length is a pretty easy one, just length of the back of your foot to your big toe. And now we have a perfect case of body dysmorphia. So the model here does look a little goofy, it looks a little wonky, even a little silly. And that's for, well, one thing, everyone has different proportions with their body, and seeing it on like an odd avatar like this, it does look weird, but the measurements should be fairly accurate. I say should be because, second off, there is some odd measurements that this may not get right, and it may not get your proportions fully correct from your given stuff. I encountered this when I was scaling my Mark 42, where I had parts scaled down to the point where it looked like it would fit me, but there was just certain odd measurements, like the length of my abdomen and stuff like that, that looked a little off, and I wasn't sure about. And I thought like, oh, if I send this, it's gonna look weird, stuff like that's not gonna fit. I took a gamble, and it ended up paying off. And then I went back to Avatar, did some adjustments, stuff like that, to make it a little more proportional to my actual body. So take that into account. It may not be 100% spot on to your measurements whenever you get it in. So I recommend going into your avatar here and tweak some stuff as need be. So in order to do that, you can actually click the specific part you want, and let's just say you want to shorten your abdomen. You can look in your avatar model properties here, and you have your back length measurement, as well as your waist circumference and all that good stuff. So in order to make it a little less wide, you can adjust that and then just hit like, say like 8 inches. Now it adjusted your abdomen to be a little bit thinner. Now it did mess with your waist circumference and stuff like that, so let's put that back at 29. And your waist width, it's still a little bit different than what it started out as. Now you can change the depth, you can change the back length and all that stuff, so even though you put in your measurements, none of them are final. You can always adjust them as need be. So in order to actually get your parts into here and start being able to scale them, I'm going to be showing you how to do that right now. So first thing you want to do is go up to workspace here, hit import, and then you have your files up here. So I found out very quickly that this UI is a little tricky to navigate, so let me show you how to do that. It took me a while when I was first doing this. So if it doesn't automatically pop up for you, you want to go up here to your drives, click that, and hit my computer. and it has all your drives listed if you have multiple drives. So I have my drive in my homeware folder, and then it has all my files listed here. So basically this all varies depending on where you have it. So that's just where I have it. I have my folder labeled Mark 40, and now we have all of our files listed. So let's say we want to start scaling our bicep. So we have our bicep right here. Double click that and it should import it. So now that we have this in ArmorSmith now, we can go ahead and put this on our avatar. So you can go ahead, go to your workspace, hit the button at the bottom that says attach, and then you automatically have it on your cursor here. So now you have to place it in the specific area that's supposed to go. Now ArmorSmith makes this easy by having these little gears here at like different sections of the body to help you place them in the correct spot. So your bicep of course goes on the bicep. I have the right one selected, so let's go ahead and put it on the right. It's inverse. Now in order to place it how we need to on the avatar, we can go ahead, go up to this little section here. We can move it there, rotate the piece, and just do all that fun stuff. So first we're going to rotate it to line up with the arm here. And I'm just going to do a little fine tuning here, there, boop-a-doo. Move it down a little bit. And bada bing. Now that's basically centered on our arm. It doesn't need to be perfect as long as it's not clipping through. So here you can see there's a ton of gap in the bicep. So that means it's theoretically too big. And now you can go ahead and decide at this point if you want to scale it down or just print it at 100% and just pat it. Which before you make that decision, you actually want to put on the rest of your arm to see if it will actually function and actually like be able to do this fairly easily. And now we have our forearm on here. So you can see there's a good amount of gap there where the elbow is. So I should be able to bend it like this and not have too many issues. So you can go ahead, either make it tighter or pat it and print it at 100%, whatever you want to do. I decided to take the route of printing the whole suit at 100%, except for the legs. So I have everything here, and everything that I have printed out, which is the torso and arms and everything, fit exactly like they should, kind of like how they are in ArmorSmith here. So like I mentioned, I got away with printing the entire torso and the arms at 100% scale. And because of my proportions, my legs are the part of my body that runs short. So like I mentioned before, these beautiful files are by DO3D, and they model their armors around a 6-foot tall, roughly avatar. I learned that from a frankly built video, by the way. Now with me being 5'7", there's some places that cause me to be 5'7" and not 6 foot. And my legs are the primary reason, because the torso fits me perfectly. But the legs is where I run into my issues. Like on the Mark 42, there are some discomforts with the legs because they are still a bit big on me, so I had to use some platform shoes. Now I plan to do that on shotgun as well, but one of the goals I have for the suit is to be more comfortable, and in order for that to happen, I need to size the legs a little bit. So what I ended up doing here is I scaled the legs to about 98%, which makes them a tad bit shorter overall, but should still work with platform shoes. Now I'm on the fence of how I want to do this, because I could scale them ununiformly, which means I could have the length of this at like 98% and then make the width of it at like 96. Now in this case, I'd probably be changing up the length so that way I could walk in it right, because you could see the calf goes below my calf, because you could see the shin armor goes below my calf, and the thigh actually goes about right to where my joint is supposed to be, which that might restrict my movement a little bit. So what I'm thinking of doing here is actually reducing this to about 96 to see where this goes. So in order to mess with the scale, we gotta select the part, and then we have 3 different areas here we can mess with. The translation, which is basically how the part is moved around. The rotation is basically the rotation angle and degree, whatever, just make it go whoop or doop. And then the scale, which actually decreases or increases the size. So if we want to keep it uniform scale, it has this little checkbox here for uniform scaling, and if that's checked off, it's going to scale everything to the same percent no matter what box you select or change. So let's just select one of the boxes. Let's select X and then put in 96, enter, and it changed all the values to 96. So now this is a little bit smaller, so I can go ahead and adjust this as need be. I can still see it's clipping into like some of the parts here, which I don't really want it to do, because that means it may interfere or do some weird contact and just not fit properly. And there's some points on this armor which I can like use to line it up properly. So like this part of the cod piece here, I can just move the squares to line up properly, and that should be proper. The butt plate here is really close. It's kind of clipping in, but that's okay, because this is going to be moving around. But you can see the improvement where the joint is here, and it has a lot of room still inside of it. So I think I can go ahead and go down to 94, But basically all this is kind of just tweaking the parts a little bit around. You might have to do this a lot on pretty much all your armor pieces depending on how your measurements are. This is how ArmorSmith works. I think you got the gist of it. You basically do all the same things on each individual part, stuff like that, so I don't really need to show you the whole thing. It's just a lot of tinkering, a lot of experimentation to make the parts fit as you want them. And you just need to take into account how the parts collide with each other, how they mesh together IRL, like once they're actually made, stuff like that to keep in mind, and how it actually fits on your body. So once you get all that done, don't overthink about it, don't sweat it if it's not like a perfect fit. As long as it works, that's all that matters. So that is the main method that I use to scale my armor. Now you can see that I do not have the gloves set on here, which there's a reason for that, and that's because you can't really change the size of the hands in ArmorSmith. Now that's a bit problematic when you're trying to size a glove to fit you perfectly, which means that you may still have to do some trial and error printing with messing with scaling and all that fun stuff. So yeah, you still kind of got to do that a little bit. And there's another thing I want to show you guys here. This is actually future Kira speaking after I already finished the armor. So as you can see, a couple things look a bit different, like the proportions on the arms are a bit different, everything like that, because again, the more time you spend in this software editing your avatar and making the proportions correct, the more you're going to get out of it, the more accurate your parts are going to be, and just a better overall time you're going to have making the armor fit you. So I just wanted to show you guys what it looks like whenever you make it too small. So let's go ahead, take this forearm here, and it's at 100% right now. Let's take it down to say like 80. So yeah, you can see how small that got. So you can tell an armor part is going to be too small when the avatar starts clipping through the walls of the STL file here, the actual armor piece. So yeah, you could try to position it, whatever, but no matter what position you get it, there's still something clipping through. That means it's more than likely going to be too tight for you. So whenever that happens, try to scale it up as best you can and just scale it up to a point where you think you'll be comfortable in it and that you'll fit in there without issue. Like you can see here, the helmet I have on here, I scaled this down to 98%. The nose is clipping through. So soft parts of your body, you may be able to get away with not having to do that because the nose here on this model, it kind of just protrudes out. Just like nothing you can really do about that. It's just kind of there. And the nose is a very soft part of your body. So you can get away with parts being a tighter fit on some of those parts of your body as long as you're comfortable with that. It's all up to your preference on how you want it to fit, whether you want it to be looser and just padded extra, or if you want it to be tighter and be more form-fitting so that way there's not as much gaps or anything like that. It's all up to you. And another thing I want to show you guys here, because there's just a lot. There's just so many things I keep thinking to show you guys. So there are parts that you may struggle to get lined up properly so that way the armor looks proper on this body. Now, like I said, the more time you take with ArmorSmith, the better your results are gonna be. So the more time you take with lining up your armor parts to make sure that everything's lined up, everything is where it's supposed to be, helps you ensure you're going to have a good fit. So let me just show you the shoulders here as an example here to help you line it up. This step is just using the positioning tools that you're provided by ArmorSmith, like the arrow tool that I showed you that moves the part around like this, or the rotate tool, which is selected now, to do this. So how I do it is I first make sure that the part is in the general vicinity. So let's absolutely screw up where this part is in the space. Okay, so it's just kind of floating here. It's completely off. So let's go ahead, position that guy where we need it. So let's do about there and then about here. Actually, no, let me screw up the rotation a bit more. So first I like to get it in the general position of where it should be, and then I'll mess with the rotation. So let's get it about here. All right, cool. And now let's go ahead and rotate it. I want to start on the blue here because I feel like it. About right there should be okay. I want to turn it on the red one here, and looks like that looks about good, but I'm gonna have to move it down again. So I'm gonna go back up to the arrows here, and then I'm gonna go ahead and move it down, and then I gotta move it back, and it's about in position. Let me just move it a little here to match with the collarbone here, and looks like it still needs rotated a little bit. So I'm gonna rotate it on the red back this way a little bit, and then move it back out here. And this is basically a point where you just kind of got to keep messing with it until you get the position as perfect as you can. So I just want to rotate it just a tad bit there, and then move it back down, rotate on the red a little bit, then move it up. And then that's pretty much the collarbones all lined up. I was using this seam here to line up these seams. I was also using the edges to make sure they're lined up. They're like not exactly perfect, but honestly, that is pretty close. So that's all you really need. Like, yeah, this is fairly noticeable. Like this here, it's barely noticeable. That's like not perfect. So like this is fine. The positioning's good and it's good to work with and it looks pretty good. So yeah, the more time you take on your positioning and stuff like that, the better time you're going to have scaling the pieces properly because they're in the proper positions that they're supposed to be in and the proper places. And last thing before we wrap up the video, I'm going to show you guys how to save your avatar and save your armor because it's a little bit of a process. It's interesting. So in order to save your avatar, you want to go up to the corner here and click avatar, which is right next to file. Click it and then hit save avatar. And then you want to basically select the folder that you want this to be in. So that way you can save your avatar to make sure that you don't lose it. Or in case you want to make a new avatar, in case you're scaling an armor for a friend or a client, if you're doing an armor commission. So you just click here, you just name it whatever, and then you hit save. And I already have mine saved as Kira avatar, and I had a friend of mine saved when I was doing that. And you want to make sure that you're selecting in the folder that you're more than likely going to find it in because you don't want to lose it. And in order to save the whole armor project here, you want to go to file and then hit save as, and then of course name it whatever you want, save it, and make sure you're saving in a folder you can find it easily. Like I have the Mark 40 saved here, and I also have the Mark 42 saved here. And then you want to make sure you hit save, but I'm going to hit cancel because it's already saved. And now you have the project saved. Make sure you do that so that way you don't lose all this progress that you have here, because if you spend like a couple hours in this and you fully scale an armor and you close out and you don't save it, you're gonna have to do it all over again, and you're probably gonna want to burst your head through the monitor. And then when you've already saved your avatar and like say you like made some changes or whatever, just go to file and then just hit save. Hey, future Kira here. I'm more in the future than future Kira that's wrapping up the video is, and the future Kira that's making the additional content. So there's one more, there's the small couple, there's so much in ArmorSmith to do, I keep missing things. Well, going back to the avatar here, so if you, there's multiple ways you can also tweak the measurements other than just going into the boxes here. Whenever you click the individual parts of the avatar, as you can see, the armor is not here. It's making it things a lot more simpler to show. But yeah, you click the individual parts and you can see like these lines here for like individual measurements. So here you have the length of the bicep, and then you have like some rotation or whatever, so that way you can twist them and then make them disappear. Well, that was interesting. Alright, so I was showing you that you could actually adjust the arms here through like some other means by like these lines and whatever. So you can't adjust the one that actually has a measurement on here, the one that says 11.2 here, but you can adjust this one on this side and it'll adjust both sides, as you can see. So you can adjust your measurements with these kind of like slider type things instead of manually punching things in as well, if you need to make some like small adjustments or like just slightly tweak it out, just like whatever, see what, just kind of eyeball it. But as you saw, this is a little bit of a dangerous game because I accidentally just made my bicep become a black void and disappear, and it caused the entire workspace to go black. That's because that corrupted my avatar when it created a negative value for a part of the avatar. So that means is that I made it so small that it went from a positive number like this 11.7 to a negative number, and that caused it to break. So I couldn't even reset the avatar, which you can do by going into avatar and then hit reset avatar, and then it'll basically go through the measurements portion that I went through at the start of the video. That didn't even work when I tried to fix the measurements. The only way I could get the screen to work, because I tried to load other avatars, I tried deleting and reinstalling the program, I tried restarting my computer, none of that worked. The only way I was able to get this back up and working is that I had to delete my avatar. If you don't want to delete your avatar and have to make the whole thing all over again like me, be very careful with these sliders. I'm probably just going to stick with the normal like punching in the boxes type thing, because I can like fine tune the measurements this way. This will just change the length of the whole arm and make it look really, really goofy. Like, bro, we got Mr. Fantastic over here. But yeah, we'll click the forearm here, and I can actually adjust the forearm by itself. But whenever I click the bicep, it elongates the tricep and the bicep. I don't know, some of these are very odd. I can make these look very, very wonky. But yeah, that's one thing you can do. And you can also change, as you can see, the posing of the avatar. So here it's in a T pose. So in order to change this, you can go in the avatar and then go to change pose, and then you can either have it as relaxed or go back and change it back to T pose if you'd like. Now I can't really move the avatar either way, but that's alright, because again, this is just a sizing program. They'll just get the sizes of your parts down, so that's alright. But yeah, you could really, really mess this guy up, which yeah, this is gonna be perfect for making my thumbnail for this video. But there's just so many things in ArmorSmith. You could toy around, play with whatever, so many different settings and types of stuff. But I think this is everything that you really need. Again, I keep finding new stuff to go over, but yeah, I'm pretty sure this is it. I'm going to force myself to make this it, and if I miss anything, I'm so sorry. I've pretty much showed you everything you really need to use or do in this program. But yeah, let's go to past, future, Kira here to end the video. Everything's just so confusing. All right, everyone, that's pretty much how everything on the suit was made to fit me. Don't worry about I don't even know why I took the pauldron off the suit, but yeah, I did. I thought it would look better, but no, the lanyards are making it a little annoying. I'll show you how to do those in my other video where I show you how to do the harnessing, or some of it at least. This thing fits me pretty dang well. I can move pretty good, except for like, of course, where the joint collides with the bicep here, which let's pull the bicep up a little more. But yeah, that's still like pretty decent. Like, I mean, that's very acceptable for range of motion, but yeah, it fits me pretty well. The only thing I might do in the future, which I've worn this suit twice and I still haven't done anything with it yet, is that I could pad the bicep here, because it is a bit floppy here, but like when you're at a con, I've literally had nobody notice that this guy's floppy and that it's like not as big as my actual bicep, because that has a lot of room in there. But you know what? I'm fine with that. And allow that to be another point of contention here. Make this however you want to make this. Like, only listen to people if you're actively looking for advice. Don't just go off of what everybody else tells you to do straight up. Because most people at cons, they don't care. They just see you walking around in a big cosplay suit like, oh my god, it's Master Chief. Oh my god, it's Iron Man. Holy crap, that's a Warhammer armor. It's like, nobody cares at the end of the day, as long as you're comfortable and you're happy with the fit. That is all that matters. Now, like I said, for the hand here, this was not done in ArmorSmith. I literally just printed a couple of these guys, see what fit, and then I just stuck with what fit. Same exact thing with the fingers here. There are some things that you can't really nail down too well with ArmorSmith, which is mostly just the hands and maybe your head, which there's some other awesome videos out by other creators for helmet stuff, like Frank would build and Saturday Morning Props. I'm not even gonna bother making a helmet scaling video because it's already been done to death in the past, and I don't really have anything really to add to that. For Iron Man helmets specifically, I do, but that is more of a physics thing and possible future video at some point. I don't know. And I would also like to quickly apologize to you guys about why this video took so long to come out, even though no one has gotten mad about it, because, you know what, I'm not even gonna get into that. So this is more of an annoyance on myself, because this was supposed to be the first video in the series to come out. I wanted to make this a more rounded, like multiple method video on how to scale an armor. And it took me a while to get this out because I thought while I was building it, I would use some other methods like test rings and stuff. I didn't end up doing that, so I never ended up recording that, and I was going to just like print some random stuff and then record that for that section. But then I realized, wait, one of the points of the series is to show how I built my armor. And so me using methods I didn't even use for the armor, it would be kind of pointless. So I was just like, you know what? This is gonna be an ArmorSmith video, nothing else. So that's what it ended up being, because I only used ArmorSmith in trial and error. And the only things I used trial and error for were the gloves and fingers. And yeah, that's the basically the explanation on why this video took so long to get out and is not the first video like it should have been. But yeah, I hope you guys found this video informative and helped you scale your next cosplay build or whatever cosplay build you're working on right now. I'll leave a link down below where you can purchase ArmorSmith, so that way you can get started on this. Like I said, it's an absolutely fantastic program, and I'm not actually sponsored by ArmorSmith, so I'm just glazing them because they're just that good. But if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for other informative content I have coming in the future, as well as for my other Mark 40 videos if you want to follow along with this build. Well, it's already been built for a while, but like if you want to learn how to build some and just want to see how I did it, I have an entire playlist for this video series in my channel, so make sure to check that out. I'll also have it linked in the outro card. But yeah, it's so much cool stuff has been happening, and it's a lot of cool stuff, and I hope you guys want to see it and enjoy seeing it. But yeah, with all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. If you want more content, go to my Instagram down below, as well as like my other stuff, whatever I have linked down there, because I never know if TikTok is going to actually stay or not. As well as if you just want to chat me up about like, I don't know, like your favorite race car, I guess, because I used to be a car guy. Used to be. I don't like them anymore. And leave a comment down below what armor you like to scale on ArmorSmith and get to fit your body. And yeah, it's pretty much all that needs to be said. I hope you guys enjoyed. Until next time, where I scale an armor custom fit for your mom. And I don't know how many more times I'm gonna run with your mom jokes, but goodbye.